Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to episode 7 of The Season Keepers, the show where the only two people we recommend keeping for the season is us. My name's Matt, aka Clean Sheet Wipeout.
My name's James, aka FBL Drug.
Good to see you again, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah,
You had a little holiday, didn't you?
I did in Scotland. I'm covered in bites, midges. Those of you on YouTube who might be able to see, probably not showing up. Yeah, but great to get away. I recommend Scotland as a holiday for anyone. It's very scenic.
And then you came back to an absolute shitstorm of a game week where we saw 44 goals.
Yes, chaos. I couldn't believe every game had about 7 goals.
Oh, it felt like that to start with.
Yeah, definitely getting your value for money on your TV subscriptions.
Oh God, yeah. I think it was just the Villa Sheffield United game that let the squad down with a pretty dire 1-0. Which
I think so. Yeah.
All the others were quite good. I think we'll jump straight into it because there's a lot of games to cover. So First, starting Everton 5, West Brom 2.
Obviously, I watched this with my hands over my face because I don't have Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and obviously you do.
I do indeed.
So that's a hat trick that I saw fly by. I was like, "Fucking brilliant! That's a great start." However, what I was delighted by was my goal from Dean Garner, who I started.
Lovely goal as well.
So, yeah, great goal. I've seen a few people bench him. I started him mainly because I didn't have many better options. So I did have faith in him. I did think he was capable of a goal, and clearly he is.
Yeah.
Also, beautiful free kick from Pereira.
It was glorious. And I mean, how he's been credited with the assist for Dean Garner. I mean, obviously it's a kind of pass in his own half, really. Just those FPL assists amaze me. Like, you get that one cheeky touch to your player, and then he runs 45 yards to score. It just feels unfair that they get the assist, but
Yeah, each assist is worth the same, whether it's KDB pinging a 50-yard pass, or if it's bouncing off of someone's back and then someone taps it in. It's the same assist.
Exactly. So obviously we had Calvert-Lewin got a hat trick, Richarlison a hat trick of assists. And then Michael Keane got a goal, and James Rodriguez got a goal and an assist. And I think he's one of the big talking points, isn't he?
He certainly is. I think people were apprehensive slightly at first. There was a fair amount of hype, but clearly he has delivered, and he was very impressive in the game. His passes that he was pinging across to DCL were very impressive. I think that Everton trio is pretty exciting, and I'm pretty worried that I don't own any of them.
I think that the game was quite open though, and obviously it was probably, I know Everton started well, but as soon as Gibbs, fucking idiot, gets sent off,
as soon as Chamberlain got sent off, I think that was the turning point.
Yeah, poor Chamberlain, eh? But yeah, obviously that point, and then we had Bilic get sent off at half time as well. So.
In fairness, he was only just asking why. Like, he was just wanting to know why. I don't think he was particularly abusive. I think it's just the Mike Dean show, as usual.
Yeah, we all know who the ref was, so that's the problem there. But no, I think Everton probably worth keeping an eye on. If I've obviously got Calvert-Lewin, I'm not intending to bring in any other Everton players just yet. But if I could afford him, James Rodriguez would probably be on his way. Fixture-wise, so they've got Palace and Brighton next, so I don't think they'll be as open as West Brom were. And obviously, they're sending off.
I think Palace would be hard to break down. I think that we've seen that from the first 2 games. They're not going to be maybe the walkovers or that people thought at the start of the season. They actually look quite well drilled and cohesive.
No, agreed. It was strange to see that Digne didn't get anything. Like, he got a 1-point return in a game where they scored 5 goals. You know, normally you'd expect him to maybe get at least an assist, and there's no clean sheet there. So if you've got Digne, I'd maybe be looking elsewhere personally, because I think there's far better value, maybe slightly cheaper than what he's at as well.
Yeah, I think there's too much money locked in on Digne. If I were you, I'd probably go for a switch to Castagna at Leicester personally.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Right. Okay. So Leeds, we move on to Leeds Fulham.
Yeah, Leeds 4, Fulham 3. Another absolute cracker of a game to watch on TV. I'm thoroughly enjoying the fact that we get to see every single one of these games at the moment. And I think
It's insane.
I think it'll last for the season as well. Obviously, we've had the announcement. We're recording at 7 o'clock this evening on a Tuesday, and we've had the announcement that sports stadiums aren't open for the foreseeable. So we could see this for quite a while.
Yeah, it's good and it's bad. Obviously, you want to be going to games. As someone that's actually living in Manchester at the moment, I'd probably struggle to get to most of the games anyway. So it kind of, in a way, does suit me a little bit, having all these games on TV. If anything, it just does take up more of your life, but you love it, so it's good fun.
Yeah. So this Leeds performance I found quite strange. They started off so quickly. Obviously, they hit Fulham. I thought, they're cruising here. And then they seemed to let Fulham back in the game. And Bielsa's reaction at the end of the game was actually quite nice to see. But he just said Leeds couldn't hack Mitrovic. He didn't make any excuses. He simply said that they didn't know how to defend against him. So that was, quite telling. And, the common ones, Costa, Klitsch, Bamford, all getting returns again. And they're so cheap. But
yeah,
it's just which one to pick because, they're not consistently going to return every week. Otherwise, you're looking at 30 to 40 goals a season. And that's not going to happen. But just going forward, it's so impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, I was very impressed by Costa personally. I think he was excellent. He took his goal well, just smashed it in under the bar. I think it
was a lovely strike, yeah.
Yeah, he's looked pretty good in both games. I think if he was on pens, then you'd pick him straight away. I think the fact that Klitsch is on pens kind of adds another dimension. It makes him more appealing because he does still have the capability to score. Obviously, he's deeper, way deeper than Costa. But obviously, you've got the element of pens, and a lot of pens are being given.
Oh, they are.
With VAR. This week has been pen central. So it would be a wise decision to get the pen takers in.
Yeah.
I mean, whenever Milivojevic is fit, fucking bring him in for Palace if they're going to be getting pens. I mean, obviously we saw I think Zaha slot one in.
Yep.
Obviously, owners of Zaha are few and far between, but they'll be enjoying that. My girlfriend owns him.
We'll come on to those two later, won't we?
Yeah, we will.
And Patrick Bamford, I think, was sticking two fingers up to me and you because, pre FBL, we both said, good to see that they're bringing in Rodrigo because I don't think Bamford's got it in him. And quite a few people were saying the same. And now he's got a goal and 2 assists in this one. And he's
shut us up.
He has, yeah. And he's got another price rise, I think. So he's on the up. And if, they set up the way that they were going to, Bamford might continue to keep his place. So.
He has the potential to be this season's Pookie. Obviously, he's not there yet. He's only scored 2. But he's got the potential to be if he keeps performing. And I could see myself ignoring him just like I ignored Pookie for the first 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And then eventually the pressure will just cave in and we'll bring him in. Yep. But until then, I'm not bringing him in.
No, I think it needs a restructure for a lot of teams probably to bring him in because then you'll have excess value to spend in midfield. But I don't think my team's set up for that. Fulham on the other hand.
No, neither's mine.
I think Fulham, the only real asset I'd still go for is Mitrovic. I don't think there's anyone else in Fulham at the moment that took me by surprise. Defensively, they look shocking. Teams will get in behind them and probably hit 2 or 3 regularly past them. But Mitrovic will always pop up with a goal. So.
Yeah, it's just Mitrovic as well for me. Shall we move on to another surprise?
Yeah, a shock. Man United 1, Crystal Palace 3. Wow. This game pissed me off because I took out Danny Ings, brought in Martial, thinking, Man United were pretty good at the end of lockdown. Let's bring them in. They'll hit the ground running. Did they fuck? They were atrocious.
Yeah, Martial was horrific. He didn't do anything. He has games like this where he's not involved in anything, and then the next game he'll probably get 2 goals and an assist.
Yep.
You just got to be patient.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing. Obviously, Zaha got another 2 goals. Townsend grabbed himself a goal. I still have this inkling that I can't see Zaha carrying on this form after the transfer window shuts. But I don't think he'll leave Palace because the asking price that Palace want for him, I don't think anybody will pay in the current market. And obviously at the moment he's playing in that forward role, but they've brought in Batshuayi. Would you not then play Batshuayi up there and then Zaha and Eze kind of slightly wider? Well, I don't know, but that's the way I'd be more inclined. So yeah, Zaha's hit the ground running, but for me, I don't think I'll be taking hits to bring him in. Yeah, maybe a free transfer, but I wouldn't hit to bring in Zaha.
No, I think you're going a bit early if you're bringing in Zaha. I think 2 games is not enough to be proven to be consistent. I think we know from Zaha before that he's not consistent. Personally, formation-wise, I'd probably go for a diamond formation and have Eze in behind Batshuayi and Zaha. You could have then they've got a decent amount of sort of holding defensive midfielders that they could put in the hole. But I'd like Eze in that sort of central attacking, that cam role, the number 10, if you like.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him develop.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him play. For like week in, week out, it should be good in the Prem as well.
I've been really impressed with Crystal Palace. Like, I kind of wrote them off at the start of the season. I think I'm pretty sure I had them bottom half finishing, but you know, they've just kind of come out, taken both Saints and Man United now. They've got 6 points from 2. So it's not a bad start for Hodgson, is it? So
they've had the start I thought we were going to have.
Yeah. No.
And I think we've had the start I thought Palace would have.
Yeah.
So
I think Palace were probably overlooked by many, and you know, at the start of the season, don't think anybody predicted what we've had so far. And Man United, well, I don't think there's much to talk about, you know, in terms of assets. I'm holding Martial, and I think those that have got Bruno in, you know, there's no reason to panic. We've got probably 3 or 4 game weeks before we should be looking to move them on. I can't see Man United being as bad as they were this week against the likes of Brighton. And I think Brighton are probably the kind of team that will play a bit more. So Man United could potentially look to get in behind. And obviously, if, you know, they start Greenwood, Rashford and Martial and they're firing, you know, they can hit 2 or 3 on the break, can't they? So
yeah, I think people may forget Bruno's form from the end of last season based on these first 2 games. Obviously, the threat of pens is always going to be there for him, and obviously he's more than pens. He is capable of assisting and scoring from outside the box, inside the box. I wouldn't panic just yet. I'd say you'd want to be looking at game week 5, and if he's not returned, or game week 4 and he's not returned anything, then maybe you have that conversation with yourself. But until then, I think keep the faith. Don't just flip-flop unless you're maybe short of a Kevin De Bruyne and you want him in. Then maybe just cut your losses and bring De Bruyne in.
Yeah, I think it's far too early to be flip-flopping, isn't it? Like, I've seen a lot of wild cards banded around in the FPL community, and that surprises me a little bit. But, you know, some people have seen that they've had a couple of really bad game weeks and have pressed the button already, but I'm not going to.
It's worrying. I mean, it's up to them, obviously, but it is arguably a bit premature. But I can understand they want to catch price rises. They're not happy with their team, so then they change it.
Yep.
It may work, it may not work, but obviously you only get 2 wild cards a season.
Yeah, no, exactly. Next game, Arsenal 2, West Ham 1. West Ham surprised me. I thought Arsenal would turn them over a bit more, and I know a lot of us captained Aubameyang. Thankfully got the assist, I suppose, but other than that, you know, West Ham, I think, played pretty well and were actually unlucky to lose this game.
Yeah, I think it's a lot closer than we imagined. I captained Aubameyang as well. I expected more of a kind of 2-goal deficit at least.
Yeah.
So I think West Ham did surprise a few. And I think, like I said, when the pressure's off, I think that's when they may perform. And I think that's an example of it. And that may carry on with these tough games they've got. No one's expecting them to get anything. So then the shackles are off. They can just be free to perform. Obviously, we're a bit worried about the dressing room. But
it didn't seem to have much of a problem, though. Like, I thought defensively they seemed quite solid. They had off Arsenal for long periods. And obviously Antonio, as he does, popped up with his goal. So like you touched on last pod, he was probably one of the likely ones to maybe step up in these games because he seems to like playing in the bigger games. got his goal,
Yeah.
and obviously Nketiah then came on late and then slotted home the winner from Dani Ceballos. The irony that those two linked up this week after physically linking up last week.
Yeah, they've buried the hatchet on that one.
They really have, haven't they? But,
Shall we move on to the next one?
Yeah, I don't think there's much. Do we have to? Do we fucking have to? Southampton 2, Spurs 5.
5
goals. Wow. Right. I was playing football when this game kicked off. I got home and seen, obviously, Danny Ings had scored. Thought, happy days. Took him out of my team, which was a bit pissed off about. But thought, brilliant. Saints have started well. Seeing that we were pressing, we had chances. Spurs probably should have got in behind us a couple of times, the offside flag. And then that sloppy goal going into half-time. What were we doing? Why doesn't McCarthy come out for it?
Oh, no, he's the indecision there. He sort of comes out, goes back in, and then his positioning's all over the place.
Yeah. Son slops home, and then they come out, all guns blazing in the second half, hit a couple of quick goals, and then we're fucked. We just consistently made the same mistakes of this.
The high line.
Ridiculous. Yeah, honestly, I'm so angry about this because this high line that we've played against Palace, Brentford, and now Spurs, we're being fucked up the arse because as soon as we make that press, there's 50, 60 yards between Jack Stevens and McCarthy. Stevens isn't the quickest of players. McCarthy doesn't come off of his line. Every single goal that Son scored, they just played it in behind, off he went.
Yeah. Oh. If we do that again against Leicester, we could see another 9-0.
Yeah.
Jamie Vardy would love that. Balls over the top, his pace. Yeah.
If you can play Jamie Vardy in behind with 50 yards to run at Alex McCarthy, you know who's going to win that every single day of the week.
Exactly.
I don't understand.
Or Sadio Mane, it could be anyone.
Oh, it really could. Honestly, I am worried because how Hasenhüttl didn't see, even after Brentford, that we were making the same mistakes and it's not been resolved. I don't get it. Yeah, we might look good for 45 minutes, but as soon as our heads drop and a team, realizes, actually, this is the tactic to take, we're going to get spanked.
Yeah. Yeah, Mourinho clearly realised that at half-time and then took advantage. It was really a game of two halves, so I was very happy with the first half performance from us. We looked good, we looked calm, we were controlling the game, and then second half capitulated.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the midfield, there was no real thrust from us there to win the ball back. I thought Che Adams was probably unlucky. I believe he had the highest XG of any player that didn't score at the weekend.
Yes.
And he was unlucky in the first half. Yeah, well, we said that at the start of last season, and it took him 30 games to get a goal, didn't it? But if we play the same way, I know Burnley are a different kettle of fish, and they don't look to get in behind teams, but even then, I can still see them, scoring 2 or 3 against us if we continue to play the way we're playing.
My pre-season optimism has now faded into realism/pessimism.
Oh, absolutely. I think my tweet, I was raging after the game, and there was no passion, there was no heart. We looked like we didn't give a shit, and we're bereft of ideas. There was nothing we could change in the game without stopping this high line. I'm all for the press. We pressed brilliantly at the end of last season. Teams couldn't hack it. We looked so fit. And I don't know what's happened in the 4 weeks between then and then the start of the season, but it's almost like we've all gone to KFC, had a bargain bucket, sat down, not trained, and then come back.
Yeah, nice analogy, but
oh mate, honestly, I could rant for Southampton for so long, but I don't think it's what the listeners want to hear. But yeah, it's if you want my opinion on Saints, feel free to either DM us and we can talk about it a bit more. But I need to see improvement. Alex McCarthy needs to make more decisions, come off his line, and we need to stop having 50 yards between the goalkeeper and centre-back. Yeah,
agreed. I think it'd be interesting to see how we get on against Burnley, whether he makes any changes or if he makes the same mistakes.
Yeah.
Hasenhüttl, that is.
Saying that, I won't be bringing in Son, who got 4 goals, or Kane, who got 4 assists and a goal, because no team is going to defend like that against Spurs again. There's no way. Son's not going to score 4 goals, and Harry Kane got more assists in this game than he got the entire of last season. So,
I read that he got 16.6% of his career assists in that game.
Summed up.
which
Yeah.
is insane.
It's an anomaly that I don't think we should read too much into, other than
No.
if we continue to
Right.
then
Let's move swiftly on. Let's
Newcastle
not talk about that anymore.
No. Newcastle 0, Brighton 3. Neil Maupay with a couple of goals.
Unexpected. Did not expect Brighton to be winning this game 3-0.
No.
I was looking at these fixtures thinking, oh, great, that's good for Saint Maximin, that's good for Wilson. My team would do nicely there, home against Brighton. No.
Nope. Not at all. Yeah, I played Lascelles and St. Maximin and got fuck all from them. I think it was 1 point between the two of them. And Neil Maupay continues to probably go under the radar slightly. Got 2 goals and an assist. Took, pen taker. Took his pen well. And the only sour grapes to come out of this was Basuma and that crazy red card. I have never seen a movement like that in Premier League football before. Just, I don't understand what was going through his head. I know maybe he was trying to get the ball, but oh my,
oh dear,
he deserved the sending off. And I think I've read that he's only going to miss 1 Premier League game, providing Brighton get through in the cup. So that's a bit of a saving grace. I've got him, and if that's the case, I won't get rid of him. But
yeah, you can ride it out.
I'm not going to play him.
I think one thing that's particularly annoyed me is Matt Ryan obviously got a clean sheet there. I was between Ryan and McCarthy at the start of the season. I think a lot of people like me went with McCarthy, thinking Saints was defensively stronger this year.
Yeah,
doesn't look like it, and I think after these few games, I think Brighton's fixtures turn for the better. I think the initial run is difficult, but even so, they're doing okay.
Yeah, I was kind of in a similar boat. I had the option of either Ryan or the West Brom goalkeeper, because I've heard that save points and stuff might be useful, and he's got nothing. So I've been screwed that way. It's another one of those ridiculous decisions that's fucked me over to start with. But hey ho, it's FPL for you, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Yeah, but Brighton's fixtures going forward, they've got some toughies. They've got Man United, Everton. I think there'll be 2 tricky games. Then they play Palace, West Brom and Spurs. So, defensively, I wouldn't be chucking them in. If you've got them, hold them, because as they've proven, they can get the odd clean sheet, and I think they're quite a good team. But yeah, I wouldn't be maybe bringing in Neil Maupay for now, unless you need that cheaper striker. Then, could be a good option.
Yeah, it's a budget option. I think he's one to consider. But other than that, I wouldn't be jumping onto any Brighton players.
So Chelsea 0, Liverpool 2. It was an okay game. I don't think it was the most thrilling.
No, obviously, again, we've got a red card, which to a degree changed the game. But I think Liverpool were always in control before the red card, to be honest. Obviously, another bad performance from Kepa. 70 million down the drain. I think have they all but confirmed? Is it Mendy coming in?
I don't think it's been confirmed yet. Which
I know they did. The Fabrizio did a tweet just after Kepa made that mistake.
He did, yeah.
But I've not seen anything since.
No, there's been nothing from the club just yet. And I know I've read about half an hour before we started podding that Lampard's already confirmed that Caballero will come in for the cup game. But supposedly that was pre-planned and not because of Kepa's howler. But
I reckon that was pre-planned. Normally you play a different keeper in the cup competitions. But yeah, that's got to be a priority for them, getting a new goalkeeper in.
Yep, no, definitely. And then obviously Sadio Mane stole the show this time for us Salah owners. It's frustrating, but Mane seems to enjoy these kind of games.
He does, and I think he does enjoy a big game. And also, I think something we've looked at in the community is Salah home, Mane away. That tends to be a bit of a trend.
Yeah.
Obviously, Firmino's another good one away. Obviously, you don't really want him in your FPL team, though.
No, he got.
So it's between Salah and Mane. I think if Mane was 11.5, I'd be thinking about him. As he isn't, I'm not. He's not on pens. It doesn't concern me that he scored 2 and Salah didn't return this week.
No.
Because this could quite easily be reversed next week. I mean, let's not forget Salah got a hat-trick the week before this one.
Yep.
keep the faith.
Oh God, yeah. And Liverpool obviously got their clean sheet, and I think Van Dijk and Trent both got a bonus, and Robertson was only 1 point behind them in the PPS system. So he could have very well got there. So those that have potentially doubled up at the back, and I've seen some that are tripled up. Keep the faith, because Liverpool are going to get these clean sheets, and I expect Trent and Robert will probably start to get their attacking returns the more fitness they get as well.
I think so. I was just going to add about Trent. He had a couple of free kicks that came quite close.
Yep.
One where Salah rolled it off to him. Trent was a metre at most, half a yard away from that top corner. I think on another week that goes in. Before knowing you got 3 bonus points, you got a goal, you got a clean sheet, and he sat on like 12, 13 points.
Yep. No, and I guess another one to note, but mainly more for Sky, which we're both playing, is Thiago. Obviously came on at half-time, got 75 passes, the record for a player to have played 45 minutes in one half.
I saw a lot of stats around his passes, and
it's insane.
Clearly for the Sky game, he's certainly one to consider, alongside obviously Kevin De Bruyne, who hit every tier going.
Every tier possible, yeah. But I think one thing to maybe note on that was he did come on in the second half against 10 men. So, the stats are kind of skewed a little bit there personally, but he's proven that it's 1-2 pass, 1-2 pass. And everybody talks about that. All his videos that you watch, it's just get the ball, receive, look up, play it on. So I think we'll see a lot of that this season.
Yeah, I think not an option for FPL, but
maybe one to look out for Sky. And then to end, obviously, the Sunday night's games, which was on BBC, Leicester 4, Burnley 2, without Jamie Vardy's contribution.
No, which I'm thankful for, as I transferred him out this week for Martial. Obviously, didn't really benefit me in any way, but it's nice to see him not punish me for selling him, and he should have. Yep, to be honest, you'd think he'd be in amongst the goals if he scores 4. Leicester score 4.
I was shocked. I mean, Harvey Barnes, I thought, had a really good game. Obviously, got a goal and an assist, and then Castagna got 2 assists. So he's looking sharp, and probably a real steal at his price, to be fair, if he continues this form.
He certainly is. He's impressed again. Looks very good going forward. So I think you'd treat him like you do Trent and Robbo, like a clean sheet's a bonus for him.
Yep.
I think he may be a good one for attacking returns. And at 5.5, I think he's a good option, especially for those who own Tierney like myself. I'm considering moving in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. No. Leicester just looked impressive going forward personally. And I thought Pratt took his goal very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely strike.
Yeah, he adds to the plethora of options at 5.5. I noticed he's got I think it's a goal and an assist now. He's returned in both games, which I saw.
And then James Justin got his goal for those that still own him.
Fuck's sake! I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are saying this, but he was in my draft for the majority of pre-season. I took him out, and he's just returned very well.
Yeah, I held him in Sky, but got rid of him. Obviously, like yourself, before FPL kicked off, and what a mistake that's looking.
It is. We've got price rises, we've got performances. Never mind.
Exactly.
I just hope it stops.
Yeah, so do I.
My cat has decided to join the YouTube video. I'll just move her down. Sorry about that, listeners.
They just want the fame, mate. Obviously, mine was a couple of weeks ago, and now yours are jumping in.
Well, we might get a few extra subs from those that like a bit of pussy.
Yeah. Oh, how did I know you were going to go there? Yeah, okay. Moving on to Burnley. You've got obviously Wood. Wood got as a goal. Dunn is an interesting one. He's 4 million centre back, owned by 3% of teams, but I don't think he's nailed. I know obviously Tarkowski's potentially heading off, but you've still got Kevin Long at the back there who will probably play. Is it me? Yeah, he'll probably still sit there. So I wouldn't be diving to bring Dunn in. Yeah, he looked over the moon to score his fucking goal, but at 4 million,
the passion.
Yeah,
I was a big fan of the passion.
He looked so thrilled, but I don't think I'll be bringing him in because I can't see him continuing.
No, I wouldn't be bringing him in either. I mean, I hadn't even heard of him till Sunday evening. So
No, I'm not sure what his ownership was before he scored, but it's now 3%. So it's not a lot.
0 point something it would have
Yeah.
been.
Well, yeah, there you go. So quite a few people have taken that leap, but it's probably just on the pure basis that he's 4 million and he got a goal. So
I think so, yeah.
right, Monday we'll slightly gloss over this one, but Aston Villa 1, Sheffield United 0. It wasn't great. I mean, the sending off for Egan fucked me off because I've got him. He was the last player in my fantasy league. It had been a bad enough week as it was, and then there he goes. Pulling back Ollie Watkins, gets spotted, and straight off he goes, -2. Summed up the week. But then Villa didn't seem to attack. I don't understand why they were quite slow in their build-up.
Yeah, so obviously the sending off is a big part of the game early on. I had a text from Matt saying he was banking on an Egan clean sheet.
Yep, absolutely.
I thought it was fairly likely, in fairness, and then I couldn't believe my luck to see him sent off.
Fucking fuming. Honestly, that just summed up my week. It's not. I obviously took out Ings for Martial, and decided to play Egan when I've got Podence sat on the bench, which we'll come on to. And
I'm sure we all take delight in our mini league rivals' misfortune. I'm one of them. It's good fun. But it'll be happening to me next week, so
bloody well.
It's all laughs.
Yeah, but
all right.
Yeah, I don't really think there's much else to touch on Sheffield United. Defensively they should improve. Villa, I expected a bit more from them, kind of going forward, and they might start to gel with Watkins and Grealish. But for now, I'd stay away. Final game, onto
the big one.
Yeah, good way to end the week. Wolves 1, Man City 3. Cracking game.
Oh, yeah, great game. Obviously, the main talking point out of this is, well, there's two main talking points, I guess. Kevin De Bruyne and then Phil Foden. So, firstly, Kevin De Bruyne, obviously, let's not use the E word, but he is a very important player for your FPL team. I think 11.5 million. Certainly. Let's just say it anyway. Essential. There you go. He is definitely got to be someone you're considering in terms of premiums for your team.
Yeah.
11.5, he still provides great value. Obviously, last season he was 10, and that's just ridiculous.
Yep.
But yeah, you're going to be, if you compare his run of fixtures to Aubameyang's, you've got, I mean, I've made the move myself, so has Matt.
Yep.
From Aubameyang to KDB, I think it's got to be done based on the fixtures, and obviously we know what KDB does.
I think a lot of people have already made that move, but looking at it, it's actually surprising. If you haven't looked, take a stab at his percentage ownership. Let's take a wild guess.
I'll have a look now. I'll guess
don't
first.
Look, take a guess, yeah.
I'll guess, and you.
Because I've seen this.
So current ownership now.
Yep, current ownership. Bearing in mind, we believe a lot of people have gone Aubameyang to KDB.
I reckon it's still going to be fairly low. I reckon I'm going to say 22%.
Nah, well off. It's 37.5%.
Oh, okay. I was being too positive.
Very. But it's still surprising.
It's only just over a third of players owning him. So 2/3 of players are going to be getting digged by Kevin De Bruyne.
Now, obviously, it's a long way before the game week commences again, so that could well change. But I'm surprised not as many people as I thought had made that move this early. And we both obviously made it before his price rise. He's now 11.6, and that's only going to continue. I think it won't be long before he's up there with Salah's price.
Yeah, he'll be hitting 12, and then people will be probably thinking, "Oh God, shall I take Salah out for Kevin De Bruyne?"
Yep.
I have to find that they'll be clambering around for the funds, so it's better to get him in early, I'd say.
Yeah, agreed. And then obviously Phil Foden started, scored, got 90 minutes.
Yeah, we may see more of this as well. Obviously, we understand that City's squad is fairly light at the moment in terms of injuries.
Yep.
I thought before the season started that Foden may play a little bit more than he did last season anyway. Obviously, there's no David Silva now.
No.
So naturally, he's going to feature in more games, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
And obviously, he's developing as a player.
Yeah, and Bernardo Silva's obviously injured at the moment, which we heard before the game. So I think at the moment, Foden, I can't see anybody else starting in that position. So if he beds himself in at 6.5 million, he's could be a real asset if you wanted to double up. And then the other City player that some people gambled on was Raheem Sterling. I think he'll still come good. He looked sharp, potentially, probably should have had a goal. Got his assist. It's a lovely little spot to Foden to lay it off for him. But we're going to have these games. De Bruyne's going to look outstanding. He'll get his goal and assist, and Sterling won't do a lot. But then we'll have other games where we saw post lockdown where De Bruyne doesn't do a lot, and then Sterling scores a couple, especially whilst Aguero's out. So it's one to keep an eye on. But I wouldn't put people off doubling up on Sterling and KDB if they were looking to go that way in a wildcard. Like, go with it, and you could get a hatful of points between those two over the next 3-4 game weeks.
Yeah, agreed. I think a double up on Man City is never really a bad idea unless you're doing it in defence.
Well,
I think, I think having both Sterling and De Bruyne, when they obviously fire, then you're going to be laughing because I don't think many people will have both.
No, and I think
potentially a team may not be as balanced in terms of having a De Bruyne and a Salah compared to a De Bruyne and a Sterling. I think I'd prefer to have a De Bruyne and a Salah.
Yeah, and I think looking at it, Patricio made 6 saves, or FPL saves anyway, which shows just how attacking Man City went, whereas Edison made none. Obviously we had Jimenez and Podence linking up again. I, of course, benched Podence this week, and he got his assist. So another 5 points just sat on my bench. But Podence is one that I am seeing named a lot. So many people on Twitter have decided that Saint-Maximin to Podence is the move to make this week. And I own both. So I'm potentially looking to go Saint-Maximin to someone else. But bearing in mind he's been named almost by everybody that I've seen either wildcarding or moving Saint-Maximin on. Take a punt at what you think Podence's ownership is.
I'm going to say 6.5%.
Yeah, so you'd think maybe that or more, but you've overshot it. It's 2.8%.
Wow, there we go.
Yeah.
So that's being conservative.
Well, that is the Twitter bubble summed up in one, because my timeline today has been full of, I'm doing ASM to Podence. I'm doing ASM to Podence. Podence is the one. Got to bring in Podence. 2.8% of the game, Evan. So for those bringing him in the Twitter community, it's still one hell of a differential. So I wouldn't put you off if you see everybody else doing it, because they're not.
Yeah, they have a great run. Obviously, there's a lot of hype. Maybe too much hype. You can get lost in this kind of Twitter noise.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the games. I don't think there's much else to touch on those 10 games. It's nice to get a full set of fixtures. But how those fixtures related to our FPL teams is a different story, isn't it?
It certainly is.
It's not been the best of weeks for either of us, I'd say.
Sorry, Matt, what did you finish on?
I got 41 points.
Obviously, that's after you read.
Yeah.
You got some on the bench.
I do, yeah. I've got 8 points in Podence and Walker-Peters sat on the bench. And then had I just switched them with Saint-Maximin and Lascelles, I'd be on 48, which, to be fair, is still shocking compared to some scores. How about you? What did you end up on?
I was going to say, hey, I'm on 47.
Yeah. So
it's not great.
No.
I mean, you look at the average points there, it's 59.
Yeah, which was a real surprise. But I have seen scores hitting 100, which is baffling. And then I suppose we should give them a mention. But obviously both my fiance and your girlfriend absolutely fucking smashed us this week.
Unbelievable.
Storm got 77 points and Ellie got 84. primarily because
Yep.
they both own Son.
They certainly do. My girlfriend also owns Mitrovic and Zaha, which are probably two players not many people own. Obviously, maybe Mitro is in a few teams.
Yeah.
But Zaha, certainly, she was an early adopter on him. She started him game week 1. She's had him starting against Man United. Obviously, not many seasoned FPL players would do that, but there you go. It's paid off.
I mean, Ellie's got Son and DCL, so their points combined matches my score. And then she's got the likes of Pereira, Robertson, Trent, and Ryan. So the points just kept stacking up, and she hasn't shut up about it.
And that's why they're above us in the league now.
Yep. I know, 2 game weeks in, I keep telling her, but yeah, at the moment they can take a screenshot and look at that because that's the last time that they're going to see it.
So we've both done our transfers. I think we're both contemplating a -4. Whether or not we do it's another question. I'm erring on the side of caution. I may not take a hit. I think I'd quite enjoy benefiting from all the people that are taking hits, so I may not take a hit.
No, agreed. We've obviously both done Aubameyang to KDB, which we've touched on. I'm looking to maybe remove Saint-Maximin for potentially Phil Foden or someone in and around that price. I just don't like where Saint-Maximin is playing. Obviously, wide in that midfield 4. If they're going to stick with having Wilson and Andy Carroll up top, I don't think he's that great of an FPL asset, which is a real shame. But he's not the player at the moment that we all thought he'd be. Like 5.5 million. It's proven that Podence, is by far better. Moving forward, same price bracket. Armstrong's fit again. He could probably get returns. He likes to cut in for Saints if we decide to show up. But I just don't want to say Maximin sat there. So I think it could be worth the -4 this week. Maybe be a little bit more aggressive than I want it to be.
Yeah, I'm also obviously thinking of moving ASM on, so Maximin. We may be potentially jumping the gun here. It's 2 game weeks. We may have not given him the fair crack of the whip, and he could quite easily get an assist against Spurs, maybe a goal.
Oh yeah,
he may perform against the stronger teams.
Yeah, I've no doubt.
He's it has the potential to be explosive, I think.
He does.
It's just the consistency may not be there.
No, it's the eye test at the moment, and I guess we've only got 2 games to go on, but he's not impressed. But inevitably, if I take him out for a hit, he'll return. Of course he will, because that's what happens in FPL. I've been looking at the league table, and I've got a Chrome extension, so I can look at the league table for our mini league and then see everybody's ORs and their transfers and stuff, which is quite interesting. Obviously, I'm on 109 points overall. Top of our league is Ellie, who's on 139 points. I'm sat at 2.7 mil overall. Where do you think Ellie is, bearing in mind that she's only 30 points ahead of me?
Pretty sure I looked it up, and it's about 360k.
She, after bonuses and stuff we read last night, she's 570k.
Oh, okay, there we go.
But
I must have looked pre-update.
2.2 million places between myself and her, and there's only 30 points. Like, don't be disheartened, because I've seen a lot of people. The reason that they're wild carding is because they're on 100 points, they're on 110 points. I'm on 109, and I'm not wild carding. No way. Like, I've seen a tweet that I kind of retweeted earlier, which is probably something that I needed to see really. To score well in FPL, you've probably got to average 60, 65 points a game week. And to win the thing last season, I think you needed 68. So if you're sat on 120 points, yeah, you might see people that are on 140, 150. Even I've seen scores at 185 points so far. They're not going to keep it up. If they keep that up, they're smashing the record, aren't they? So
yeah, exactly. I think that's a very good point. I think people are too easily disheartened, especially this early. I think I didn't expect this kind of hysteria this early on. I think perhaps it's not as bad as we think it is. It might just be FPL Twitter. I think certainly the casuals won't be panicking, I don't think.
No, exactly. And we're not going to get game weeks like we've just had every single week. Like, this is an anomaly. It started, teams have come back from pre-season. They've not potentially had a brilliant pre-season. Some haven't even played a game. They look a bit tired at the moment. We're not going to get 44 goals a week, for Christ's sake. Like, just
I hope not.
well,
For the sake of my defence.
yeah. Either if that's the case, I'm going 4 million, 4.5 million at the back, and I am loading like 3-4-3, 3-5-2, 10.5 million assets all the way through, because there's no point in having defenders if this keeps up. But
No.
another thing I wanted to touch on really quickly was a few transfers that were brought in over the last week that were made. Obviously, we've seen the two biggies at Spurs. Gareth Bale has returned at 9.5 million, and Regulon, I've no idea how to properly pronounce his name, but I'm going to go Regulon for now, and he's 5.5 million. Both currently down as being injured in FPL, so I wouldn't be jumping on them just yet. But here's one for you. Would you go? Oh, actually, no. We've got a question. I'm going to leave that one.
What question? I was going to
I've
mention
just seen,
that. Actually,
we've got a question. But Bale and Regulon are interesting price points. The one that really surprised me, Diogo Jota to Liverpool.
Has he been yeah, it surprised me, but has he been priced up yet?
Yeah, I think he was.
Was he just what he was at Wolves?
He's just what he was at Wolves, yeah.
Okay, yeah. The usual scenario.
Yeah,
I didn't expect that. I don't know why they're signing him particularly. No. I think they could have invested in someone else.
Yeah, because obviously they brought in Minamino last season, and we've not seen him at all, since the start, really. He got some minutes in pre-season, seemed to play in behind kind of, that front or with the three in behind Firmino, but we've not seen that formation since. And now they've gone and signed Jota as well. So
maybe he's not convinced by Minamino.
Maybe
from what he's not really had too much to go off.
No,
with Minamino, but I can't think of why he would sign him.
No,
unless he just wants even more squad depth than what he's got, I guess. But
maybe, and it just seems to establish the fact that Podence and Neto might be more nailed than we thought they were at Wolves, because it's Jimenez and then those two really. Like now, Jota's gone. It took me by surprise. It was one of those that when I saw it, I thought, nah, it's not going to happen. A bit like the Matt Doherty transfer to Spurs, and then when it went through and I saw him holding the Liverpool shirt, wow. Okay.
Yeah, no, I was the same. I was like, what?
Yeah,
why?
Really strange. But it's just something I wanted to touch on. Like, obviously, one of those news outlets that you see and you're like, yeah, never going to happen. But I don't think anybody should have him in their team now, because for me, he's not going to play.
Yeah. It's a bit of a strange one. It's like, I don't know, Man United signing Bernard from Everton. Yeah. It's just something random like that.
No, really odd. And I think in his statement, he mentioned that he's done it so he can further his career and get more minutes. Well, sadly, Diogo, you've gone to the wrong team. I think you're not going to get 90 minutes week in, week out.
No, I don't think he will. Shall we move on to our questions?
Questions from the public. Yeah, go for it. We've got a few. We've got four decent questions, I think, that we'll go through. The first one is from Rich FPL. Thank you very much for your question. Big one. What would be your ideal wildcard squad for game week 3? Do you want to have a look first?
Yeah, I can answer first. I think I won't go through in great detail, but I would target Wolves given their fixtures. I think they've got a great run, and the likes of Jimenez and Size are the ones that I would put in my wildcard. I think Wolves are going to be getting clean sheets on that run. Size is the perfect option for that. He's cheaper than the likes of Bolly, and I think he's still capable of assists and other returns. But even if he just gets clean sheets, that should be enough.
Yep.
And Jimenez, so consistent and always overlooked. I think at 8.5 million, he's still a good price. He's the same as Ings. I think if you want consistency, get Jimenez in your team. I think he's got a great run. Put him in your team. Another team I'd be looking at is Everton, obviously. I think you could go for one or even two of Everton players. I'd personally pick Calvert-Lewin and then either one of Rodriguez and Richarlison. I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah,
If you're feeling brave, do the triple up. But
bold.
especially considering at the back, I wouldn't really want any of their options, so you could do the triple up. But I'd be more inclined to triple up on Wolves, given their fixtures, than I would Everton.
Yep, no, I think that's right. I looked at it in a little bit more depth. I think for me, the ideal goalkeeper should probably be the Villa goalkeeper partnership. Obviously, we've now got Martinez in from Arsenal at 4.5 million. I think Steer was the one that was on the bench this week, and he's 4. So for those that, at the moment have either gone that Brighton 4.5, 4, or me, the West Brom 4.5, 4, or even Saints, like some have gone the 4.5, 4 with Gunn. It's maybe Villa that you should probably be looking at. Defensive wise, I think you have to have either Robbo or Trent. I think at the moment Robbo seems to be matching him and has actually looked quite sharp to start the season. But most will go Trent. I'd maybe look at bringing in Reece James. Seems to be cementing that spot at the moment, and I think he's only 5.1. So Chelsea, they've got players coming back, which is something we didn't really touch on. I don't think the Chelsea that we've seen so far is the Chelsea we'll see in 2 or 3 game weeks' time. Like, we've still to get Pulisic to come back, Ziyech to come back, Chilwell, Silva. Like, that's 4 big names. If you gel them into a squad, Chelsea could be a whole different kettle of fish. So I'd maybe look
Agreed.
at James. And then I'd probably just look at maybe 3, 4.5 options at the back. You've still got Ayling, KWP, Justin. I know he's had a little bit of a price rise, but they're all there. You can throw them in if you're only ever playing 3 at the back. Midfield, KDB. I think you have to have him after the performance last night. You can gamble on Sterling, but KDB for me. Then either of Mane or Salah, but again, I'd probably go Salah. And then there's a host of options at the moment in and around that 6 to 7.5 million. You've obviously got Zaha. If you want to kind of jump on it, for me, I wouldn't, because I think we've probably missed his goals. But you've got Harvey Barnes, I think, looks sharp for Leicester, and obviously James Rodriguez, 2 good players that you could get on at that price point. You've got the cheaper options like yourself. You've got Diangana, consistent. He's going to play, so you could get the odd return. And then Costa for Leeds, again, gets the returns. Up front, Jimenez, like you said, I think he's 1 for me, slightly underpriced, and 2, underowned. I think I'd probably have Jimenez in there. I'd probably go DCL because he's cheaper, and again, I think he's massively underpriced. He's at another price rise. I think he's 7.2 now. And then we've got Martial, Werner. I'd maybe go one of them, but with a view that in 2 or 3 game weeks' time, you might be able to jump off and move elsewhere. So that's how I'd go, Rich. Second question. The ever-present Runner at 9. We love you, mate. Honestly, thanks for your questions. He's asked 2. He's getting a bit cheeky there. Is McCarthy a dead man walking and primed to be dropped in the next few weeks?
Potentially. I think Hassan Hutel may stick with him for a couple more weeks. But if I were him personally, I'd be giving Fraser Forster a shot, or even Gunn. Yep. I think his shot stopping and positioning the last couple of weeks has been atrocious. It's been shocking.
Dreadful.
That goal, obviously, where he was coming off his line, but then retreated, and then his position was all over the place. And then another one he let in at his near post. Not a great display. No. Doesn't inspire confidence. So I'd be giving Fraser Forster a go. I mean, he's going to be sat there thinking, if I don't get a chance now, when am I going to get a chance?
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. There's not really much else I'd say on that. I think I'd quite like to see Forster given an opportunity. If he can recreate his form, of a few years back, or even the form that he showed at Celtic, like he was and probably still could be a good shot stopper. And it's got to be better than McCarthy at the moment. I thought McCarthy did okay post lockdown, but man, he's been fucking wank since. So I'd move off of him. The second question is again about Saints and goalkeepers. Is if Butland is brought in for Saints is rumoured to be a swap for Gunn, will he take the jersey or will Forster be given a chance?
I think he'd probably start Butland, and depending on his performances, he'd stay as the number 1. I think he'd have to take a dip in form like what we've seen from McCarthy this season for him to experiment with Forster. I would rather we go for someone else personally, though.
Yep. No. Yeah, I rate Jack Butland, but is he the right goalkeeper for the style of player that we're clearly trying to play? I mean, I hope that we don't continue with this high line. The high press I'll accept, but the rest of it, not so much. But I don't know if we will make that move. Like, we paid quite a bit of money for Gunn. It seems a shame after that 9-0. He's obviously not come back into the team, but clearly they're seeing something that we're not behind closed doors. So I can't see Gunn making his way back. The final question from Dane Russo. When fit, would you have Bale at 9.5 million?
So, Mr. Russo, I think yes. When fit, I'd say squeezing him in may be difficult, but I think he will score a decent amount of points, and I think he's sort of well priced at 9.5. I think he's an excellent player, and I think he obviously knows the Prem. I think he's got the physicality for the Prem. He's obviously a very strong player. We saw him bulk up after sort of when he was at Spurs and then leaving Spurs. I think he's one of the fittest players around, even at his sort of age at the moment. I think he's still got a good few years in him. Yeah, at the top level. I think I'm going to be thinking about how I can get him in when he's fit. Of course, don't jump on him straight away. I think that's a bit of a stupid move. But I think you got to be looking to get him in.
Yeah, see, I'm on the slightly other side. Son's $500,000 cheaper. And I don't think Bale will have the pace that he's had before. He'll still have the creativity. He's proven, time and time again, he's a goal scorer. But I think for now, and obviously whilst Bale's injured, I'd go Son for $500,000. But I'd want to see Bale consistently outperforming him before I'd be willing to pay the extra 0.5, because that can go a long way. So for me, it's a wait and see, very much a wait and see. Even when fit, I personally wouldn't be going straight in to get Bale. If you wanted to target Spurs, I'd probably target Son, because I think he'll be the one that's slightly further forward and Bale could be the one that's providing. But it's a wait and see. Bale could come in, bang, 4 goals in his first 2 games, and then I'm made to look stupid. But that would be my opinion for now.
I understand the point with Son. I think at 0.5 cheaper, that is also obviously a good option if you go in Spurs. However, I disagree with the pace. I think he will have the same pace as seasons gone by. I think he's still the same player, I'd say, in terms of his pace and his fitness.
I think so?
I think he'll be okay. In terms of fitness, maybe, and pace, I don't think he's lost pace. I think people just stereotype older players with losing their pace. I don't think he's that old. I think he's a very fit player. I think he will still have that pace. I mean, he said it in his interview himself with Spurs. He's still got his pace, and I agree with him.
We'll have to wait and see. All right.
We will.
Final question from me, James, then, before we say our goodbyes. Who's your current captain for the game week going forward?
I don't think I've thought about it.
What?
I think I can see who it's sat on. I have thought about it. I've just remembered it. It's between Salah and Kevin De Bruyne.
Okay.
It's currently sat on Salah, but it may move to KDB.
Nice.
What about you?
I've gone Werner, and I've been sat on Werner since I saw that they were playing West Brom. Obviously, I'm hoping the likes of Pulisic come back fit, but Werner seems to be being sold by more people than being brought in, which baffles me.
Oh, he is. Yeah, I think that's mad. I would be captaining him if I had him. I don't have him, so I'm not captain.
I mean, long may they sell him. I just hope he doesn't get a price drop. But if you keep selling him, sure, because I think he'll score 1, maybe 2 this weekend. Especially if the likes of Pulisic and Ziyech are back. We could see a slightly different Chelsea lineup this weekend. So fingers crossed.
Well, he certainly should do, and I think if he doesn't, then you're definitely going to be seeing a price drop. You might even see 2.
Oh God, fuck me. That'd be a brilliant start to the week, wouldn't it? Christ. Well, I think that probably brings this show to an end. Really, as always, thanks everybody for all your questions. We appreciate it, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Obviously, we put this video out on YouTube. It's brilliant to see some of the comments on there, and you all get to see our ugly mugs. And then We're available on all good kind of audio podcast platforms, as you can find in our link tree at the Season Keepers on Twitter. So thanks very much, James. And I will speak to you soon, mate.
Yeah, it's been great. Cheers.
See you later.